On Friday, the energy market panicked. The White House announced a surprise plan to force big tech to build new power plants to lower electricity prices. If you were all in on the scarcity trade, betting that power would stay expensive forever, you got hurt. Welcome to Epic Finesium Odyssey. Today, I'm talking about the energy slice of my portfolio and how I have it allocated to survive shocks like this. And remember, this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing here should be used as or construed as financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before making any investment decisions. On Friday, parts of the energy sector took a blow when the White House announced a plan to build new power plants to lower the cost of electricity. This is largely driven by the rise in energy costs for everyday people as data centers compete for more and more electricity. While parts of the energy sector dropped, my portfolio held steady. Why? Because I don't just own the power producers, I own the entire supply chain. And one company in particular, Dominion Energy, is sitting on the most valuable real estate in the AI world. Most people think energy just means oil, or maybe just utilities. But my 2026 roadmap slices energy into specific jobs. 50% is in midstream, the pipes. 15% is in generators, the power plants. 10% is in manufacturing, the hardware. 10% is in upstream, the drillers. And 15% is in the grid. Let's talk about that grid allocation first. You cannot talk about AI without talking about Dominion Energy. They operate the grid in Northern Virginia, also known as Data Center Alley. Roughly 70% of the world's internet traffic flows through data centers in Dominion's territory. They're effectively the landlords of the internet. Whether Microsoft builds a new plant or uses an old one, they will likely need to plug it into Dominion's grid. While the generators crash because of fear over electricity prices, Dominion is a regulated utility. If the government forces more power plants, Dominion gets to build the substations and transmission lines to connect them, and they get paid a guaranteed return to do it. This diversification is exactly what saved me last week. First, look at the losers, my generators, Constellation and Vistra. They profit from high prices. The threat of new, cheap supply scared investors, and they dropped about 8 to 10%. But then look at the winners, my manufacturing holding, GE Vernova. If the government mandates new plants, we need new turbines. GE Vernova soared 6% on the same news because they sell the shovels for this gold rush. And finally, the heavy lifter, Midstream. This 50% chunk of my allocation held the line. Companies like Williams and Kinder Morgan traded flat. They are the bridge. Whether the power comes from old plants with high prices or new plants with low prices, the natural gas still has to flow through their pipes. By keeping half of my energy exposure in the toll roads, I insulated the portfolio from the panic. And because I own the infrastructure, the pipes, and the grid, the headlines about Venezuela flooding the oil market were just noise. My portfolio is built on U.S. demand, not global oil prices. While there are fears about what could happen to oil prices due to Venezuela, my small 10% upstream allocation barely flinched. And whether or not it goes up or down, I'm not particularly concerned as my energy slice is well diversified to different areas and segments of the energy market. Now, one scenario that would worry me is if energy demand plummeted while supply increased. This could potentially negatively affect the entire energy sector, but I believe that energy demand will continue to rise in the long term. The lesson this week? Don't bet on one horse. I own the turbine maker for growth. I own the grid operator for stability. I own the pipeline for cash flow. That is how you survive a market shock. Next week, I will talk about why I believe one should invest. Subscribe so you don't miss it. As always, thank you for watching.